Hello, everybody, and thank you for joining us again for MMT Social Hour. I'm Jesse Fouts, and I am joined this evening by my fellow friend Shelby,
Hello.
Brittany Hooks, and Jeff Bowman.
What's up, y'all?
And we are going to be discussing Walt Disney World Value Resorts. This is something that I think that if we have been pushing through some really good content on our pages in regards to resort overviews. And we're going to keep it high level and just lump the whole category of value resorts together in this discussion. And then we'll be doing some other discussions about the moderate resorts and then, of course, the deluxe resorts. But the value resorts, this is where, this is where most people start their Disney vacation love is the value resorts. These are the larger than life resorts. These are the resorts that are going to be the more budget friendly resorts. These are the resorts that are going to have some really kid friendly theming. So definitely very fun themed resorts. So I think we'll just jump right into this and, start talking about Walt Disney World Value Resorts. So before we get started, let me ask this question. Has anybody stayed at all of the different value resorts on property?
No.
Nope. Okay. Let's go another question. How many have stayed at more than 2 value resorts on property? So 2 of us. All right. How many of us have stayed at 3 value resorts on property or more? Uh-oh. So I think we're going to have a tie here. All right.
That's all. I haven't stayed at more than.
Okay. All right. I got you beat. I've done 4. So there. I feel better about myself now. So considering there's only 5 different value resorts. But we're going to talk about them. And again, really, really fun themed resorts throughout. But let's go ahead and just jump right in and talk about the different resorts. So first up, we're going to start with the All-Star Resort. So there are 3 different All-Star resorts. So you have All-Star Movies, All-Star Music, and All-Star Sports. I'm going to just ask, which of your 3 do you like the most, Shelby?
I'm a big fan of music. That's my go-to.
Yep. How about you, Brittany?
So I've stayed at music, super cute theming, but all the things that I've seen about the movies resorts, the larger than life depictions from all these Disney classic movies looks like so much fun to walk around and look at. So I'm just going to say maybe I would love to go check out movies.
Yeah. Jeff?
Yeah, if I pick one, it's going to be All-Star Movies. I love the Toy Story area there with the big Woody, like you see there. There's an RC. There's a Mighty Ducks pool, which you won't see any Mighty Ducks anywhere on Walt Disney property except for All-Star Movies, which is awesome for 90s kids. So, All-Star Movies would be my go-to for an All-Star.
Yeah. So, and I'll follow in behind that. So, yes, All-Star Movies Resort that's my favorite of the value resorts. Like Jeff said, the theming there, the Toy Story section, which is really, really fun. Not pictured here. So you've got this giant Woody who's sitting down, and again, you're shrunk down to the size of a toy. And on the other side, you actually got Buzz Lightyear. So it's really cool. So you have the Woody section and then the Buzz section. And then, of course, you've got the Fantasia section, which is right in the middle of the resort. So you got the Fantasia pool there. Very fun theme. So, these resorts are located right next to each other. So they're not one giant resort. So I know a lot of people might think because they bear that name, All-Star, they're definitely not one giant resort, but they are very close to each other, which means sometimes they do share the same buses. So if you're considering your stay at one of the Walt Disney World resorts and the value resorts, now this is not always the case. During the busier times, you might see them share buses, the slower times. Busier times, you're going to see they'll have their dedicated buses that go between the different resorts. Disney Springs, I think, does a share area. Let's talk about theming of music, theming of sports. So again, as you can imagine, music is themed after music. Tell me, Shelby, because I know that you said this was your favorite one. What's your favorite section in music?
I like the location of the Calypso. You're right up front and kind of central to the resort, and it's really fun and colorful. They have the pool out there that has the 3 caballeros. So you've got Donald in the middle. It's like a little fountain, which is really cute. But the rock section's really cute too. It's got this big jukebox out front, and it's really colorful, and they do the theming really well. And I love how close the resorts are to one another. So you can easily just walk over to the other one, check out all the other themes if you aren't able to grab a room in the resort you're really trying to stay at.
Yeah. Yep. And fun fact, All Star Music was just recently completely renovated. So it's the newest in terms of feel in the renovation cycle for the All-Star Resorts. All-Star Movies was rethemed right at the beginning of 19. I think they finished refurbishing those rooms inside. But here's the even better fun fact about All-Star Music. It's the only All-Star Resort to offer a different accommodation type. Can anybody tell me what that is?
Family suites.
Mm-hmm.
Family suites. Yes, exactly. And I'll tell you, after seeing the renovated family suites, those are very nice. And they sleep up to 6 people in the family suites.
Yeah, it's a game changer.
Yes, especially if you're looking, again, we're trying to keep this budget friendly, right? So it's a great option, especially if you, if you're traveling grandparents, or if you're traveling with, if you multiple kids, younger kids, older kids, and you want some separation, because Lord knows mom and dad need, that sanity check, right? So, yeah, definitely something there. All-Star Sports. All-Star Sports. So again, it's not hard to figure out what it's themed after. So you've got, and I do really enjoy the theming in All-Star Sports as well. All-Star Sports is currently undergoing a refurb. So I don't think they're out of it yet. I think select rooms have been refurbished. I don't think all of them have. And if you do happen to get a room at All-Star Sports versus music or movies, keep this in mind. The beds at movies and music are queen size, whereas the beds at sports are double size. So, and crazily enough, you're going to pay the same amount. So that's a good tip if you're looking for that bigger bed, especially getting that queen size. So, but yeah, so let's move on to the other 2 of our value resort lineup. So we have Disney's Pop Century Resort and Disney's Art of Animation Resort. So let's start with Disney's Pop Century Resort. Whose favorite value resort is? Yep, that's Brittany. Tell us a little bit about Pop Century.
So I love Pop Century. One of the first trips my family took together with 3 kids was to Pop Century. So my youngest was an infant, and even though we're a family of 5, I was able to sleep in a Pop Century room with 2 queen beds by putting her in the crib. And we actually put the crib in the bathroom and closed the sliding bathroom door at night so she could have that like quiet darkness and privacy. So that's the way to get a family of 5 to sleep in some of these value resorts. But other than that, if you have 5 adults, they're not going to fit in Pop Century. The theming is a lot like the All-Star Sports music movies, very larger than life. It's a place you can just spend time walking around, especially when I had young kids with me. We spent the mornings walking around, getting breakfast. There's a playground they could play on, and just taking in all the sights of all the different themed buildings. So it's themed after decades. And so we were always usually in the 80s building. There's the 90s building, very nostalgic. If you grew up in any of these periods, grandparents can really enjoy the theming as well, because they might stay in the building of the year they were born. or the decade they were born in. So it's a fun theme. But my favorite part about Pop is that it's on the Skyliner route. So the Skyliner gives you instant access from that resort and other resorts, but from Pop Century, you can go to Hollywood Studios and to Epcot on the Skyliner. And that is our favorite way to start our vacation, is by taking a trip on the Skyliner. So anytime I can stay on the Skyliner personally or put my clients on the Skyliner, I always recommend it. It's quick, easy access, and you don't have to take the bus to either of those two parks.
And if you have littles, you don't have to fold the stroller.
That's huge
bonus as well.
And if you have a scooter, you can ride your scooter right onto the Skyliner in special, and they'll stop the Skyliner in special cars and let you go on with your family without it moving, and you're trying to chase a moving vehicle. They make it really convenient for everybody to access the Skyliner.
Yeah, Skyliner's great.
Yeah, I definitely think that Pop Century reached a new level of like desire, being desired for a value resort when the Skyliner came into play. And, I think it really changed up how people, what resort people were booking for. Because I remember at one point, Pop Century was kind of considered like lower on that totem with the value resorts, kind of down there with All-Star Sports, I think, in terms of popularity. Again, layouts just about the same as you're going to get at All-Star Movies or music or sports, right? But it was different. It was, that pop culture theming through the different decades. When you walk and you see giant yo-yos and you see a computer-shaped pool and
bowling pins.
Yeah, bowling pins. It's really, really a fun theme resort. And then, of course, talk about adding that Skyliner, but on the other side of that Skyliner station is our 5th value resort. And I would like to say that this resort more or less should be kind of like a diet moderate or a value plus, right? It's kind of a in-between category resort in the terms of what it's offered. It doesn't really feel like Pop Century. It doesn't really feel like All-Star when you're staying there. And in fact, some of the accommodations here are more expensive than staying at a moderate resort. So let's talk about Art of Animation. And really quick, here's a very fun fact. And you probably know this if you're a Disney nerd like me, but can anybody tell me where did the idea of Art of It? Well, let's go back here really quick. Pop Century Resort, themed after decades. Does anybody know what Art of Animation was originally going to be before it was Art of Animation?
Nope.
No.
Oh, I'm glad I was able to give you a good fun fact. So the Art of Animation Resort originally wasn't going to be Art of Animation. It was actually going to be the 2000s, the Millennium section for Pop Century. So it was going to continue on and be another section of Pop Century. But during the early 2000s, there were some financial issues, and they kind of halted the construction on that, and then decided to actually pick it up and theme it all together to be its own themed resort. So that then we got Art of Animation Resort, which I'm kind of glad they did, because this is a lot of people's favorite resort.
Yeah.
And value, deluxe, moderate, doesn't matter. This is a lot of people's favorite resort. So let's talk about it really quick. What kind of accommodations can we find mostly here at the Art of Animation Resort?
Family suites.
Yep. And not just regular family suites. Tell me what kind of family suites here.
You'll get dual bathrooms in a lot of those. They're big rooms. There's, how many do they sleep? I can't remember.
6
still.
Technically, you could sleep more than that with infant, right?
You can get 7 with an infant.
Yeah, 7 with an infant, but 5 or 6 adults. So 6 adults, but up to 7 if you have infant.
But heavily themed. I mean, very exciting. Your kids walk in and they see Finding Nemo. they see Lion King, or they see Cars.
Yeah.
Those are your 3 themed suites. And then you have just a generic family suite as well. The Finding Nemo ones are the most desirable, a little more expensive, but they are closest to the Skyliner. So if you see that price point go up just a little bit on Nemo, it's because of the location of the building that they're in. Yeah. But each area around them is themed. Like you see Crush, they're huge. I mean, you can't imagine how big Crush is until you're there in person. So kids and adults of all ages are just amazed by how much they put into this theming, really.
Yeah, absolutely. Tell me about the standard rooms here.
Those have a Little Mermaid theme, and they are so cool looking for standard rooms. You know, they're not that typical. The renovated rooms at All Stars, they're really nice. They're kind of modern looking. They're very sleek. They have, you know, the characters like Mickey, like above the bed. And I don't know if we mentioned there about how the beds at All Stars they fold up. They're the Murphy beds. But yeah, the theming in the Little Mermaid standard rooms is just so neat. Every little kid would love that. I mean, adults too. We all grew up with Little Mermaid, so they're really awesome as well.
And out in the courtyard, there's a giant Ursula and a giant King Triton. There's Prince Eric and Treasure. The pools and splash pads that are all over in each area are themed to it as well. So little kids that you don't want to put in a pool yet, plenty of opportunities to play in water, splash around, I've just walked around the resort personally just to take it all in. They have s'mores at nighttime. They have movies on the lawn. They actually have a really good food court. So if you need to grab breakfast, lunch, dinner, snacks, late night snack, it's open for any of your food needs.
Yeah. So I want to talk about, you know, again, you talk about that larger than life theming, and we're talking about 3 really amazing franchises here. You have Cars, which is huge. You have Finding Nemo and Finding Dory, which is great too. And then you have The Lion King. All of that sprinkled in here, and you've got little touches of the idea of the animator's palette, the art of animation, that old classic Walt Disney short. And you can find some really great Easter eggs. But I love the theming of the pools here, because you've got the big blue pool, which is themed after Nemo. And did you know you can actually hear music under the water in the big blue pool?
That's fun.
And then you've got the quieter pool, which is not so quiet, over in the car section, and you have the cones, like
cozy cones.
Cozy cones, yeah. And I will say it. I know we didn't touch on this on the All-Star or Pop Century resort, but each of these resorts, they're going to have pools, right? You're going to have a main pool, and you're going to have quiet pool selection. But you also are going to have on-site food court dining, where you're going to be able to go get breakfast, lunch, and dinner. But I'll say, even the food at Art of Animation is a step above in the food court. You can tell in the quality of the offering and what's there. I mean, like, I was very impressed eating there versus, you know, and I've eaten at all the food courts because, you know, even though I haven't stayed at all 5 of the value resorts, we've toured them, we've enjoyed the amenities there, and you know, and I was like, this is definitely different at Art of Animation. And of course, you have the Skyliner, right? So again, get a family of 6, you want to stay right there on the Skyliner, you've got it. It's perfect. But, you know, and I know we touched on this briefly too on this next slide here, but you know, the types of accommodations that you find at the value resorts. So you're going to have standard rooms, and in the standard rooms are each going to have a different category of view. So you're going to have preferred, which is going to be more location based. It's going to be the same exact on the inside as it is outside. So you have pool view, you have, and then of course, you might even have a preferred pool view. So where it breaks down. So they'll kind of determine where you're going to be at. And then there are king bed accommodations at some of the resorts. Now, these are kind of far and few between. So definitely, and it is request based on getting the king bed. So if you're going as a couple, you could end up with, a double queen room, but you could end up with a king. And then, of course, we talked about family suites because you do have the family suites at Art of Animation, and you have them at over at All Star Music. So,
and there's also connecting doors. So those
yes,
could be requested, especially for larger families. Say you have 4 kids, 2 parents. You can request the connecting adjoining doors and still stay at a value resort by getting 2 rooms.
right. And that's a very good point. And I would like to ask you this question. Will they guarantee connecting?
No, it's upon
It's not a
request,
trick
but it's
question.
not guaranteed.
It's not actually. So there is a guarantee connecting option, but it's only if you have more children than adults over the occupancy. Like if you're a family of 6, right, and you're 2 adults and 4 children, Disney will do the reservation as guarantee connecting. However, if you aren't, if there's more than enough adults to cover, then it becomes a requesting connection. It's not guaranteed. Now, it's very useful to know, and this is something that a Marvelous Mouse travel agent can help you with. So if you do reach out to them, they can help make sure you get that request in. But that does make a difference. So connecting options, especially if you've got older kids, and then you kind of want to, and you're not trying to break the bank. I mean, you can get some really good deals on 2 connecting rooms at a value property. So, let's talk. Amenities when you stay at a value resort. What's included, right? And so it's important to know that if you stay at any resort on Disney property, at any Disney hotel, you're going to have some of the same basic amenities across the board. Like everybody's going to get these. So all the resort amenities that you're going to get at a value resort, you're going to get at a moderate, you're going to get at a deluxe, right? It just kind of stair steps up from what's offered on site. And these aren't all the amenities. These are just some highlighted ones, right? Because, we could list out, what classifies an amenity, right? But so let's talk transportation. We've already talked about the Disney Skyliner being included with Pop Century Art of Animation. Huge amenity to stand on property, makes it very, very convenient. What would you say is a huge benefit for somebody looking to stay at a value resort versus staying somewhere off property?
I mean, for me, it's the Disney bubble. You get that feel from all the cast members who work there. They're all trained and they go above and beyond to make your stay magical. Whether you're at a value resort or you're at a deluxe resort, everybody's treated with that same Disney care. And definitely, like I see, like you already mentioned, early morning entry. So no matter if you're deluxe or you're value, everybody gets those 30 minutes versus the people who stay off property. And so that starts your day off right, just getting that 30 minutes.
Yeah, absolutely. Here's a big one. And this is coming, because we just got the announcement that Disney is bringing back the Disney dining plan. You cannot buy the Disney dining plan unless you are in a Walt Disney World room and ticket package for on-site guests. You cannot add it. If you're a ticket only guest coming, you cannot add the dining plan to a ticket. Now, unless there's changes made to this, and they haven't announced it, but it has. This is one of the basic benefits to staying at a Walt Disney World Resort. So you do have that. Here's another benefit, and this kind of was recently overturned: free parking.
Yeah.
That's huge.
Yeah, that's big time. If you're traveling in with a car, you used to have to pay at the resort and then turn around and have to pay at the park too if you didn't want to take the bus. So, but now it's all included. Staying at the resort, you get a park at the parks and at the resort with no additional cost.
So, how about magic bands? So
that's why I love using the Disney resorts. Just having everything on your magic band. You unlock your room. You're walking around the park. You're just ordering your food. purchasing merchandise. It makes it really easy. We really like mobile ordering our food too. You know, when we stayed at All Star Music, we would mobile order our breakfast, go down, pick it up. It was ready to go. You could even order like a large pizza there at night for dinner. So it just makes everything really easy and convenient when you've got access like that.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Really takes the stress of spending money away because you have no idea of how much you're spending.
Yeah, it's dangerous.
Yeah, because you're just the physically swiping the card makes you like, oh, I'm spending money. But if you're tapping a Magic Band, it's like, oh, this is included. It feels
right.
But
yeah.
it's not. But I love it all at the same time.
You're right. Like it's you're inside that bubble. You have the convenience of knowing you have the transportation to and from the parks, Disney Springs as well, and even the water parks. So, there's just something to be said about, there's a difference between, you can save some money, stay off site, but I promise you, time is money on a Walt Disney World vacation. And not only time, it's just there again, it's that you're staying inside and you do feel that difference. The Disney difference is there versus, and I won't, I live here in the Orlando area. I can tell you there are a lot of great places to stay. So we're not saying don't stay off property. We're saying, highly consider staying on property, especially for your very first Walt Disney World vacation. I would never, ever, ever recommend you stay off property for a Walt Disney World vacation. And, if you're, if you're looking at this from a budget standpoint, the value resorts are going to give you that room to play. And especially now, there's some incredible offers out there for, for savings and prices we have not seen in a long time. So we would love to know if you have stayed at Walt Disney World and you have stayed at a value property, what is your favorite? Let us know in the comments below. And if you have never visited Walt Disney World, or if you haven't been a long time and you're looking at planning, Marvelous Mouse Travels can help you. So definitely look at the bottom of the screen, the scrolling ticker, reach out to marvelousmousestravels.com/contact us. You'll be connected with one of our highly knowledgeable Marvelous Mouse travel agents that will be able to help you book a Disney vacation at no extra cost to you. And well, that's all I have for this evening. Does anybody else have some closing notes or anything else anything else you'd like to say?
I would just say there's big value in value, especially if you're a rope drop to close type of person. You don't want to pay an arm and a leg if you're not going to be in the hotel most of the day or at all during the day. So
absolutely,
the value resorts are very nice, especially for the price. So
the beds are comfy, the sheets are clean, the bathrooms are clean.
Everything, it's all Disney
absolutely.
standard. So definitely a great option to help save money and enjoy the parks. That's how I have been in the past. Now that I'm an annual pass holder, I go at after the 2:00, but it's definitely worth booking a value resort if you're spending all day in the parks.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I think that's all for this discussion. Join us next time because we'll be discussing moderate resorts, and it might be a different set of crew on here or not. I will be here. I hope some of you will be back. But if you are watching this, no matter where you are, I hope that you have a marvelous rest of your day. And thank you for joining us for another edition of the MMT Social Hour. Take care.